July 26, 2023. The meeting room of the U.S. Congress. A former intelligence agent, under oath, utters words that were supposed to bring down stock markets and cause panic in the streets. He states, "We have the biological remains of pilots who are not human. The world didn't explode. The world..." He just stopped talking. Why have we become so indifferent to the truth? Or perhaps we have been accustomed to it for the last 100 years, feeding bits of information through movies and false stuffing? Today we will tear down this curtain. The history of UFOs in America is not a collection of urban legends. This is a story of bureaucracy, fear, and technology that is millennia ahead of our understanding. We will walk along the path from the dusty Texas ranches to the sterile laboratories of Area 51. We'll learn how the government turned the greatest mystery in history into the best-guarded national security secret. Get ready. It's a journey deep into a rabbit hole that has no bottom. Imagine a world where a horse is the fastest transport and a kerosene lamp is the only source of light at night. And suddenly, out of this silence of the 19th century, a giant metal cigar bursts into the sky. She crashes into a windmill, and the residents find the pilot, who is clearly not an inhabitant of this planet. He is buried at the local cemetery. But when researchers arrive there 80 years later with instruments, they discover that someone has dug up the body and replaced it with a piece of concrete. Who came for Ned after almost a century? The incident in Aurora, Texas, occurred 6 years before the first flight of the Wright brothers. The Dallas Morning News described this event with frightening accuracy. The wreckage of the apparatus was dumped into Judge Hogan's well. Years later, the new owner of the site tried to clean this well, and in a few months he turned into a living, dead man. His joints were deformed, his skin was covered with ulcers, and his cattle were dying in agony. This was the first lesson that the guests taught us. Their technology is toxic to our species. But the U.S. government has learned another lesson. Debris is power. Since then, the Aurora Cemetery has been under secret surveillance, and any attempts at exhumation have been blocked at the state level. What exactly are they hiding in this Texas dust? February 1942, just 3 months after Pearl Harbor. The whole of Los Angeles is plunged into darkness. An air alert has been declared. A giant round object is hanging in the sky, illuminated by dozens of searchlights. 1,500 anti-aircraft shells are fired at it. Fragments cover the city, people are dying. But the object whatever. The shells explode right on its hull, without leaving even a scratch. What was that? Japanese aviation? Or something that decided to test our defenses? The battle for Los Angeles is one of the most documented cases of mass UFO sightings. There is a famous photograph. The crosshair of searchlights converges on a luminous disk. The military would later call it a false alarm and weather balloons. But what weather balloons can explain? An hour and a half of continuous shelling? Witnesses claimed that the object was moving slowly, almost majestically, ignoring air defense fire. It was a moment of truth for the Pentagon. They realized that the skies over America did not belong to them. That night, the idea of the Project Sign was born, the first secret group to study objects that we cannot shoot down. July 8, 1947, Lieutenant Walter, outprints the most shocking press release in the history of mankind. The Army captured the flying disc. A few hours later, his superior, General Remy, forces him to hold pieces of an ordinary weather balloon in front of the cameras. But Haut did not give up. Before his death, he left a sealed confession. What I saw in Hangar 18 was not a weather balloon. It was a 4-meter-long machine with no windows or doors, and there were creatures with huge heads lying on a tarp nearby. Why did we believe in the fairy tale about the probe? Roswell became the foundation of all ufology. We know about Farmer Brussel, who found a strange foil that could not be burned or cut. We know about Glenn Dennis, the undertaker, who got a call from the base asking about sealed children's coffins. But the most important part of Roswell's story is hidden in the documents of the Battelle Memorial Institute. That's where the wreckage is rumored to have been sent. It was there that the development of nitinol, a shape memory alloy, began. Official science says that we invented it ourselves. But a strange coincidence. Nitinol appeared immediately after a device made of exactly the same material crashed in the New Mexico desert. We didn't just find the wreckage. We started robbing them. Joseph Allen Hynek was the main skeptic of the U.S. Air Force. He was hired to ridicule UFO reports by explaining them as swamp gas or Venus. But after 20 years of research, the man who was supposed to close the UFO topic became her main advocate. He said, "I can't lie anymore. These people see real physical objects. How did an armchair scientist turn into a rebel who went against the entire Pentagon machine?" Hynek created a classification system that we still use today, close contacts of the third degree. He realized that the government was not just hiding the truth, it was waging a psychological war against its population. The Blue Book Project, where he worked, was just a front. While Hynek was analyzing reports about the glowing balls, the Majestic 12 group was being created in the deep basements of the CIA. It was a shadow government of 12 people, scientists, military, and strategists. Their task was not to study UFOs, but to control information at any cost. If the witness was too talkative, people in black came to him. If a scientist found evidence, his career was destroyed. Hynek was the only one who was able to log out and speak. But the price was high. They were an ordinary couple returning from vacation. 2 points of light in the rearview mirror have turned into a nightmare that has been going on for 60 years. Betty and Barney Hill lost 2 hours of their lives. When they woke up, their watches were standing, and there were strange concentric circles on the car body. It was only under deep hypnosis that Barney shouted, "Their eyes! I will never forget their eyes." It was the first documented abduction in history. But how did a simple woman, Betty, know a map of the stars that astronomers would discover only 20 years later? The Hill case has changed our understanding of guests. They stopped being just pilots of strange machines. They became experimentalists. Under hypnosis, Betty described medical procedures that seemed barbaric. In 1961, a long needle inserted into the navel, skin sampling. But the most striking thing was the star map. Betty drew a Zeta grid system. At that time, this system was considered uninhabited and poorly studied. It wasn't until the late 80s that modern telescopes confirmed that Betty's map was correct, down to the smallest detail. How could she know that? The answer is scary. She was there, or she was allowed to see it. Malmstrom Air Force Base, Montana, the height of the Cold War. 10 Minuteman nuclear missiles are on full alert. Suddenly, a red glowing disk hovers over the base. A second later, the lights on the control panels go out one by one. The missiles are disabled. The most protected weapon in the world has been turned into useless metal. The aliens aren't just watching. They show us that our nuclear toys are just switches for them that they can push at any moment. Captain Robert Salas was there that night. He could see the panic in the officer's eyes. It wasn't a technical glitch. The systems that duplicated each other 3 times failed at the same time. Similar cases occurred in the USSR in the Kapustin Yar area. This changes the whole context of the UFO story. These are not just researchers. These are the controllers. Every time humanity approached the brink of nuclear self-destruction, they became active. Perhaps we are their investment, and they don't want us to destroy their laboratory called Earth before the experiment is completed. Imagine that you enter a hangar hidden inside a mountain. There are 9 discs that seem to be alive. They have no seams, no bolts, no engines in our understanding. Bob Lazar claims to have worked on their reactors. He described a technology that bends space-time using the 115th element. He was erased from history. His university records disappeared, his taxes were annulled. The government said, "This man does not exist." But how could a non-existent person describe a chemical element 15 years before its discovery? Bob Lazar is the most controversial figure in the history of UFOs. His story about the S4 facility near Pappas Peak Lake sounds like science fiction. He described anti-gravity engines that use the strong nuclear force. He said that these devices do not fly, they reduce the distance between points A and B, collapsing space. Lazar was hunted, he was shot at, and they tried to make him look like a madman. But today, looking at the Pentagon's TikTok video, we see exactly what Bob was talking about in 1989. Objects that move without inertia, instantly changing direction. If Lazar is right, then our whole idea of energy is a lie, supported for the sake of preserving the oil market. 2004, an F-18 fighter jet flies over the Pacific Ocean. Pilot David Fravor sees something the size of an aircraft carrier underwater, and above it is a white object in the shape of a tick-tock tablet. The object begins to simulate its movements and then disappears at a speed of 30,000 kilometers per hour. This video was officially released by the Pentagon in 2017. There is no more swamp gas. Now there is a term, anomalous, unidentified phenomena. Why did they decide to confess now? What are they preparing us for? We have entered the era of controlled disclosure. David Grusch, Admiral Tim Gallaudet, Luis Elizondo are people with the highest levels of security clearance who now speak openly. They claim that the United States has a program to restore extraterrestrial technology that has been operating for decades without congressional oversight. But there is also a dark side. If UFO technology gets into the hands of one country, it will mean the end of the global balance. We are on the verge of a new arms race, the space race. And in this race, the stakes are higher than ever. It's not about the territory, but about reality itself. 100 years ago, we thought we were the crown of creation. Today, we realize that we are just a younger species in the ocean of reason, which is much older and more dangerous than us. UFOs are mirrors. It reflects our fear, our curiosity, and our thirst for power. But the main question remains, If they have always been here in our oceans and skies, then why don't they make direct contact? Perhaps we are to them like ants to a biologist. We are interesting while we are building our anthill, but a biologist will not explain the structure of a microscope to an ant. Or maybe the contact has already taken place a long time ago, but only at the level of those who hold the keys to our secrets. The history of UFOs in America is the story of our growing up. We learn to accept the fact that we are not alone, and that the sky above us has never been empty. Sleep well, but sometimes still look at the stars, because one day one of them may start to fall, and it won't burn up in the atmosphere.